Alexander City, Alabama, 67 miles outside of Birmingham. This is where Owen's grandmother raised him. His mother was at work, and he never knew his father. At 11 years old, T.O. befriended the neighbor girl and started hanging out with her. He even developed a crush. The girl's father had noticed, and he didn't like it. He began to tease him about the feelings he had for his daughter. When he saw this would not make him back off from having feelings for her, he told T.O. it was impossible for them to be together. "You can't be interested in her," the man said. "Why not? I liked her." "That doesn't matter." "Why?" Terrell replied. "Because that girl is your sister." For the first time in his life, Terrell Owens just met his next door neighbor and also his father. Welcome to Takes and Fuego. Today we will take a look at the untold story of Terrell Owens to understand how T.O. became T.O. Terrell Owens felt the type of way about how his dad handled things. How he was never in his life. He would say about the situation, "I guess the question I should have asked years ago was, why wasn't I told? Why did it take me to have an interest in my sister, a liking to my sister, for me to know who my dad was? For me to live across the street and know that you were my dad, and know that on that side of the street you had kids, you had a wife? That was a family and I wasn't a part of that. I couldn't understand or wrap my brain around why I was across the street and wasn't a part of that. My mom was elsewhere and I'm staying with my grandmother and I didn't have a dad." Terrell was the oldest child to his 17-year-old mother. They all lived together with Terrell's grandmother when he was born. His mother had 3 more children and bounced from job to job until she was able to afford a house for her children. However, there was not enough room for Terrell in his mother's small house, so he stayed with his grandmother, who was commonly referred to as Miss Alice. When Miss Alice's marriage failed and when she was sober, Terrell would console her as much as possible. Terrell's mother was working double shifts at Russell Athletics to support her kids, in the factory where team uniforms and other athletic equipment were made. But Grandma raised T.O. while she was working. Lots of things were forbidden to the young Terrell Owens by his grandmother. He couldn't leave the property to play with the other kids. When he got a bicycle as a present, he had to stay on the sidewalk that was on the property of the house and come right back. She was trying to keep the children out of trouble. His high school coach would say Terrell went home and had to deal with a lot of different things. There were people selling crack and doing drugs, and he had to choose not to hang with them. Other kids would tease him because he was not allowed in the street. T.O.'s grandmother, Miss Alice, was thought to rule with an iron fist. There were 2 reasons Terrell could leave the house: to go to school and to go to church. At school, he would be teased by kids of his own race due to his darker skin. Kids would continue to tease him, but not just for that reason. His 8th grade teacher remembers when Owens made better grades than the student who sat in front of him and was teased relentlessly for it. The kid who sat in front was trying to get a rise out of him. His teacher approached Terrell, put her arm on the back of his desk one day and told him to not let the boy get to him. "You're above that. You're bigger than that." She says that a young T.O. smiled at her, and he later says that was a turning point in his life. Sports also were forbidden to T.O. by his grandmother until high school, but when he was allowed, he developed a close relationship with his high school coach. The coach even let Owens borrow his red Ford Bronco to the prom. "As long as he knew you cared about him as a person, he'd do anything in the world for you," said Mr. Savarese, Terrell's coach. "I trusted that kid with my car. I trusted him at home with my kids. I love the kid." Terrell would earn his spending money from his coaches, washing their car, mowing their lawn, or babysitting their kids. Another coach would say, "He never asked us for money. He always asked us for work." Even though Terrell didn't do any organized sports until 9th grade, he didn't need that much time to get up and going. He played baseball, basketball, football, and did track and field. One of the rare 4-sport athletes. After starting his junior and senior years in football, he would sign with the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. There, he set a single-game touchdown record with 4 and helped the basketball team make the March Madness tournament. As far as the NFL story, we know a lot of it. One of the best wide receivers to suit up with perhaps the most baggage. He broke his leg, got surgery, played in the Super Bowl 1 month later. In the game, he would catch 9 receptions for 122 yards. And after they lost, he would criticize his quarterback Donovan McNabb, saying, "I wasn't the guy who got tired in the Super Bowl." A few months after that, he hired a new agent and demanded more money, 1 year after signing a 7-year contract with the Eagles. Which seems to sum up his football career: incredible achievements and talent, and incredible drama. Whenever he returns home, the kids in town want an autograph. It doesn't matter if they just got one a few months ago. To this day, he still continues to help his school district financially. This is where T.O. comes in the summer to talk to kids about staying in school and the dangers of alcohol, drugs, and teen pregnancy, a school official said. The T.O. we see is a quiet, laid-back individual. For more stories, including what really happened with Plaxico Burress that night, check out the videos on the screen, and be sure to subscribe, or I will not let you borrow my red Ford Bronco to prom.